5 Reasons Why INFJs Need to Disappear Part 1. Hello, beautiful souls. Today's video might spark a mixture of intrigue, confusion, and maybe even resistance. After all, the very idea of disappearing seems counterintuitive for a personality type known for its empathy, deep insight, and desire to create positive change. But let's dive in. The concept of disappearing is not about physically vanishing, it's about taking a deliberate, courageous step back from the overwhelming demands of society. It's about reclaiming our time, energy, and sense of self so that we can eventually reappear with renewed clarity, authenticity, and strength. So what does disappearing mean for an INFJ? It means stepping away from the noise, setting firm boundaries, and retreating into our inner sanctuaries where we can process, heal, and refuel. It's about disappearing into a state of self-care and self-discovery until we are ready to emerge even stronger. Throughout this video, we will dive deep into why this withdrawal is not only necessary but also transformative. Whether you're feeling exhausted by the constant demands of your environment, struggling with burnout, or simply searching for ways to nurture your inner world, this video is your invitation to a meaningful journey of self-rediscovery. Imagine being in a quiet forest at dawn. The world around you is still, the air is crisp, and there's an undeniable peace that surrounds you. That's the state we're aiming for, a state where you can reconnect with your inner truth, free from the distractions and pressures that have long overshadowed your authentic self. Allow the idea of disappearing, not to vanish, but to retreat and rejuvenate, sink in. This is a call to reclaim your life, your creativity, and your purpose. There's no one-size-fits-all approach. It's about experimenting, finding what resonates with your unique soul, and embracing the power of solitude as a creative and healing force. You might even find that these ideas challenge some of your long-held beliefs about social interaction and productivity, but remember, every step you take towards understanding and nurturing your inner self is a step towards a more fulfilled, authentic life. So, let's dive into why INFJs need to disappear, and how this act of strategic retreat can lead to a profound reawakening. 1. Embracing the power of solitude. For INFJs, solitude is not synonymous with loneliness. It is a powerful, rejuvenating state, a space where you can process the world's complexities without the clamor of external expectations. In a society that constantly values being busy and social, taking time to be alone can feel like a radical act. Yet, for the INFJ, solitude is where the seeds of creativity and deep understanding are sown. Consider the moments when you feel most inspired. Perhaps it's during a quiet walk at dusk, or when you're curled up with a journal in the early hours of the morning. These moments are your secret sanctuaries, places where your intuition can speak freely and where your mind can explore ideas without interruption. Create a solitude schedule. Block out at least 1 hour each day, preferably during a time when the world is quiet, and dedicate it to activities that allow you to recharge. This could be meditation, journaling, or simply sitting in silence. Let this become a non-negotiable part of your routine. This deliberate retreat into solitude is not about avoiding the world, it's about engaging with it from a place of inner strength and balance. When you prioritize these moments, you're not disappearing permanently, you're building a reservoir of inner calm that empowers you to face the world with renewed vigor. 2. Setting boundaries in a noisy world. One of the greatest challenges for INFJs is navigating a world that demands constant social interaction and open availability. The expectation to always be on can be draining, leading to burnout and a sense of disconnection from one's true self. The idea of disappearing is closely tied to the concept of setting boundaries, drawing clear lines between your inner world and external demands. Imagine trying to pour from an empty cup. Without adequate boundaries, you end up depleting your energy reserves until there's nothing left to give. For INFJs, learning to say no and prioritize self-care is not an act of selfishness but a necessary strategy for survival. When you intentionally withdraw from environments that drain you, you create space for activities and relationships that nourish your soul. Develop a personal boundary setting plan. Start by identifying situations, relationships, or activities that leave you feeling depleted. Communicate your needs clearly and kindly, and remember that it's perfectly acceptable to take time for yourself, even if others don't understand it. Setting boundaries is a courageous act of self-respect. It sends a message to the world that your energy is sacred and that you are willing to protect it. While it might initially feel like disappearing from certain circles, it ultimately allows you to reappear as your most authentic, empowered self. 3. Prioritizing mental and emotional health. For INFJs, the internal landscape is as vast and intricate as an uncharted ocean. Your thoughts, feelings, and insights are a treasure trove of potential, but they can also become overwhelming if not managed with care. Disappearing into a space dedicated to healing and self-reflection is essential for maintaining mental and emotional well-being. In a world that often prioritizes productivity over mental health, INFJs are uniquely vulnerable to burnout and emotional overload. The act of disappearing is about making a conscious choice to prioritize your mental and emotional state. It's about stepping away from the external chaos and creating a safe space where you can process your feelings, confront your inner demons, and ultimately, heal. Integrate mental and emotional health practices into your daily routine. Consider techniques such as mindfulness meditation, therapy, creative expression, or even simple deep breathing exercises. Remember, taking care of your mind and heart is not a luxury, it's a necessity. The journey to mental and emotional well-being is deeply personal. It requires patience, self-compassion, and a willingness to explore the depths of your inner world. By making your health a priority, you create a foundation for lasting happiness and inner peace, a foundation from which you can thrive even when the world feels overwhelming. 4. Cultivating authentic relationships. While INFJs may need to disappear into solitude for self-care, it's equally important to foster relationships that are rooted in authenticity and mutual understanding. The act of disappearing is not about isolating yourself completely, it's about making space for relationships that truly honor your values and support your journey. Authentic relationships provide a safe haven where you can express your true self without fear of judgment or misunderstanding. These connections are characterized by deep empathy, honest communication, and a shared commitment to growth. Identify those that uplift you and those that drain your energy. Invest your time and energy in nurturing bonds that are mutually supportive. This might mean scheduling regular one-on-one time with trusted friends or engaging in communities where authenticity is valued over appearances. Remember, the quality of your relationships matters far more than the quantity. By choosing to invest in connections that resonate with your soul, you create a community that supports your evolution and nurtures your spirit. 5. Embracing vulnerability for deeper growth. For INFJs, vulnerability is both a source of strength and a doorway to profound growth. It may seem counterintuitive, but disappearing into moments of vulnerability, allowing yourself to feel deeply and express your innermost thoughts, can lead to some of the most transformative experiences of your life. Vulnerability is not a sign of weakness, it's an act of courage that allows you to shed the masks you wear for the world and to connect with your true self. You give yourself permission to explore your fears, your dreams, and everything in between. This process of disappearing into your emotional depths is what ultimately enables you to heal, grow, and evolve. Practice vulnerability by sharing your feelings in a safe space. Remember, each act of vulnerability is a step toward deeper self-understanding. Embracing vulnerability requires trust in yourself and in those around you. As you take the courageous step of disappearing into your true feelings, you lay the groundwork for a more authentic, empowered existence. Vulnerability becomes the bridge between who you are and who you aspire to be. As we wrap up this deep dive into why INFJs need to disappear, remember that the idea of disappearing is not about running away from life. It's about creating intentional spaces of solitude and reflection, reclaiming your inner power, and emerging as your most authentic self. Each of the 7 points we've discussed today serves as a stepping stone, a way to nurture your mental, emotional, and spiritual well-being in a world that often feels overwhelming and disconnected. Today, I invite you to see disappearing not as an act of retreat, but as an act of radical self-care and renewal. Prioritize your mental and emotional health, harness your intuition, and learn to let go of the pressures of perfectionism. Stay safe, and see you in the next one.